Hello folks and welcome to this week's Music Alerts soiree, in which I tell you what vinyl CDs and books, book, I've received in the post this week. First up, let's talk about that book. Called Turn It Up, or if you're in London, Turn It Up, My Time Making Hit Records in the Glory Days of Rock Music. This is Tom Werman talking about his time with people like Cheap Trick and Motley Crue and Jeff Beck and Twisted Sister and a whole lot more. Well, as you can see by the cover here, there's a little list. Published by Jawbone and spanning 240 pages, it costs either £16.96 or $24.95 or 32 Canadian dollars and 95. Werman, well, he worked as an A&R man for Epic Records. He discovered Kiss and Lynyrd Skynyrd and Rush, and Epic just ignored all of them and didn't take any of them. And then Werman became an independent producer, and he worked with the bands I listed at the beginning of this little bit. Eventually, when he put his feet up and retired, he ended up with 23 gold and platinum album sales records off the back of it. Now, speaking as an Englishman, I noted Werman's visit to these particular shores in the 70s. And his assertion that restaurant food was just awful. And I have to say, it was awful, and I lived here at the time. He also compared UK bands to US bands. This was rather interesting. He found UK bands hospitable and attentive, even though Werman was a bit of a nobody back then. The bands didn't care, they were very polite. He also found British bands to have less of an ego than US bands. He found British bands to be more inquisitive, more courteous, and better educated than US groups of the time, which was news to me. One little cuddly nugget was when he visited Jeff Beck, who introduced Werman to the game of snooker. Apparently Beck's fingernails were just permanently caked in oil because he was always tinkering with his collection of cars. During his visit, apparently he was served tea and sponge cake, which Beck's girlfriend at the time, Celia, had made especially for his visit. And Werman asks this: would that have happened in the US? Well, maybe my US friends can tell me. First up, we're going to talk about Avid. This is nothing to do with the hi-fi company. This is a veteran record label based in the UK. Now, Avid have a couple of CDs here, packing 4 entire albums onto 2 CDs. First up is this Jimmy Reed compilation, which includes I'm Jimmy Reed, the best of Jimmy Reed, at Carnegie Hall, and you get a bonus disc of all kinds of singles stretching from 1953 to 1960. It's a great value package. Next up is Nat King Cole. Where is he? There he is. And there are 4 on this one too. We have Tell Me About Yourself, and we have the album Ramblin' Rose. We have The Touch of Your Lips, and we have Nat King Cole Sings, George Shearing Plays. And in addition, they have squeezed 4 bonus tracks on this one. Again, great value, folks. Check it out. Next up, we're looking at the German label Atomicat. And as we're in October, 2 rather dark CD compilation digipack releases from the label. The first one is called HallowScream 3, but to be honest with you, the contents of this particular compilation is geared more towards aliens and space travel, and draws from tracks from 1952 to 1963 with kind of a rocking and R&B kind of flavour, and includes the likes of Eddie Cletro and his Roundup Boys and the track Flying Saucer Boogie, classic that one. There's the Jokers and The Daughter of the Moon, and there's Jan Amber with the track Little Martian. Amazing stuff. Also look out for this one, Horror Show, another compilation, same sort of musical flavours, and this one takes tracks from a similar era. So you have people like the Elites' Jack the Ripper, also Bob McFadden and Dawes' The Mummy, and Big Boy Grove's Bucket of Blood. Another little digipack. This is a brand new album. It's from an artist, a lady called Baiana, I think it is. Anyway, self-titled 11 tracker. It's a new album, as I say. And I wasn't expecting the samba or the rather coochie-coo bossa tracks, which were very sunshine breaking through the branches of the tree to wash the grass with light sound. This one is relaxing, easy, kind of romantic. There's even a couple of tracks that I wouldn't have been surprised to see in the middle of an episode of the Two Ronnies. And by that I mean these songs are rather timeless. First vinyl release is a 7-inch single repress from Universal, and Adam and the Answers' unique and rather playful Young Parisians with the track Lady on the flip. This was originally a 1978 Decca issue, but this French pressing is on clear vinyl. I have a trio of album reissues on the ABKCO label, and there's a classic name for you. Another classic name is Alan Klein, because he presents the original soundtrack to Alexandro Jodorowsky's The Holy Mountain. This was a 1973 film that told a spiritual, highly symbolic tale of guides and gods, cosmology, and lots of sterile nudity. Not quite so sterile is the hormone-rich Clint Eastwood, or Rawhide's Clint Eastwood, who sings in a baritone fashion. And it says up here, Rawhide, so it's that era. In fact, it's 1962. That's when this album arrived. It's called Cowboy Favorites. Now, it's been repressed on amber vinyl. This LP was originally released on the Cameo Parkway label, and well, it ain't bad for what it is. So I advise you to light a campfire in your living room and sing Mexicali Rose with the great man himself. Actually, no, skip the campfire. Outside is better rather than inside. To round off this ABKCO trio, we have Alexandro Jodorowsky again and another original soundtrack. This one is El Topo, or The Mole. And this is another religious exploration of a film, wrapped up in exploitation, I would say. El Topo, well, he claims to be a god, while dressed up in a gunslinger's outfit, out for revenge. What else? Next up, Joni Mitchell, and another set, well, her next set in her archival releases via Rhino. This is Volume 3, and it's called Highlights, and it covers the period between 1971 and 1975. It features the likes of Graham Nash and David Crosby in 1971, the For the Roses demos, the Court and Spark album demos, the Hissing of Summer Lawns album demos. We have lots of live concert work on her own, but also with the likes of Neil Young, Tom Scott, and James Taylor. This is a 4-disc box set, and it's packed to the gills with little treasures. Next is Geffen, and the Steely Dan reissues continue with Asia, I think it's Asia, the 1977 release. This one offers kind of sophisticated jazz rock, you might say. It's subtle, it's accomplished, wonderfully produced, layered songwriting. It's got the lot. This is the band at the top of its game. Next, another box set from Rhino, but this time The Doors, live at the Matrix in 1967. This is a 5 LP with a bonus 7-inch thrown in vinyl set, and it upgrades many of the bootlegs of this era around and about. This collection features 3 dates from the same club, The Matrix, and in terms of dates, it spans the 7th of March, and it could be the 8th of March, or maybe the 9th, not sure, and the 10th of March in 1967. But in total, it's spread over 7 separate sets. So I think on the 7th of March, for example, they did 3 separate sets in the one day. Now, we have the club's owner, Peter Abram, to thank for deciding to record these concerts in the first place. And the concerts, I believe, were delivered to a half-empty club. The band itself, they had released their debut album, so that was out and about, and they were working on their second album. In terms of fame and all of that, I don't think they were quite there yet. So this is before they really broke into the headlines, as it were. So you get songs here from the first album and also for this forthcoming, as it were, second album. This is relatively raw stuff and all the better for it. Next up we have Matt Wilde's new album called Hello World via Band on the Wall, and this is an 11-tracker featuring cool, melodic, yet relatively complex jazz. It's not in your face, this one. It sort of eases along, very relaxed in many respects. It's only after listening to this easy approach to jazz that you suddenly realise there's a lot more going on here. So if you care to listen, you'll have a fine time. There's layers in this one. Lots of layers. Originally released in 2015, Whitesnake's repress of the Purple album celebrates the 50th anniversary of lead singer David Coverdale's debut with Deep Purple. Pressed on gold vinyl via Rhino, this package re-records and remixes Coverdale's Deep Purple tracks. We're talking Mark III and Mark IV variants of Deep Purple here. Now, you could say that this release is totally unnecessary, but tell me, what do you think? Now, from the 4AD label, and we have an album from Angimile. I think it's the second album from Angimile, or Angimile Chitambo, as his tax collector would refer to him. This particular album is called The King. This is a tale of being a black trans person living in the US. This might sound a bit silly, maybe a bit daft, but I'm reminded a little of a slightly lower register Labi Siffre. Presentation kind of sounds in that kind of mode-ish. Behind him you'll get acoustic arrangements, also sometimes highly intriguing electronica arrangements. This one is draped in a folky melancholia. Finally, we have Blind Boys of Alabama and a new album called Echoes of the South via the Single Lock Records label. And I think we've got some braille on the front here, and we have a kind of Obi strip. I'll bring this to camera in a second. The album name itself is named after the radio show that originally booked them, and that was 1944. This particular LP does that very thing. It looks back to the original lineup, the gospel tradition, the people, and times gone by. Sad to say, since the LP was recorded, 2 members of this band have passed. And that's it, folks. Thanks very much for staying to the end of this one. This has been a little bit longer, this video, but we're in October, early October, as I record this video, and there's a lot going on, always is at this time of the year. So, in fact, I had to leave a few LPs, vinyl LPs, out of this video. I'll try and put them in next week, if not the week after, but it's a busy time. Anyway, I'll be back next Friday with another Music Alerts. I'll be back sooner on Sunday with a hi-fi review. If I can ask you down below if you can click on the like and subscribe buttons just to help this channel to grow. Further down, I'll put some links to some of the labels I've talked about in this particular video. There's also links to my Facebook group and my website, which is brand new. Check it out. Full redesign, absolutely new website, much better than the old one, I would say, in terms of usability, especially on mobile. And what else have we got? Patreon page. Well, we have the new episode, if I can say episode, is that right? Anyway, new video of hi-fi news, etc. And that's out now. So check that out as well, out today. And what else have we got for you? Other links, lots of other stuff. Have a little browse down there. I'll be back on, as I said, on Sunday with a hi-fi review. In fact, it's more of an update of a couple of products. They've been updated. So check that one out. It's a little bit different from the norm. Hopefully I'll see you there, have your company. Until that time, folks, bye-bye for now.